Hello, guys. Welcome to Post Woke World. Just felt like jumping on to discuss a couple things. The Charlie Kirk assassination, we've been kind of following it peripherally on this channel, and it's getting a little bit more interesting. I want to talk about ChatGPT, and I don't know about you guys, but I'm not the only person that says that ChatGPT doesn't believe that Charlie Kirk was assassinated. So if you have any kind of AI or bot or whatever, just curious if you had any of this experience. I'll give you an example. I'll show you my screen from yesterday, just as a hopping off point to what I want to talk about in terms of Charlie Kirk, what might be going on, what it looks like to me is going on, and why people are starting to call Candace Owens evil. People like Alex Jones, and I think who else called her evil recently? Oh, the body language guy, who I really like and respect. So Alex Jones, I mean, he's got some hot takes sometimes that I'm just like, dude, you're doing too much. But the body language guy, I mean, for the most part, I find him, pretty good at reading people. I mean, he is a body language guy, but regardless, he also called Candace Owens evil. I'm pretty sure that's what he said. I'm almost positive. Yeah, and I was just like, that's so strange. Like, why are people calling her evil? Because really all she's doing is asking questions, right? And I've been following Candace Owens. And all the questions she's asking, I have the same questions. But I'm going to tell you what conclusion I came to after thinking about it a little while. And then you guys can tell me what you think. Again, whatever I say here is really just a speculation on my part. I'm not seeing it as fact. This is more of a discussion point, more of a place where people can talk about things that maybe somewhere else they'll just tell you you're crazy for, whatever. We kind of entertain all ideas as long as you utilize critical thinking skills, right? Hello. I understand. And after this discussion, you may feel the same way, right? But I just want to kind of talk about what I just have to say it. So let me just show you first yesterday, okay? Let me show you first yesterday what happened. First of all, wait a minute. Let me miniaturize my face. I don't know why I have my, sorry. All right, that's a lot better. Okay, so here, let's go into, it's called Poe.com. This was an AI assistant that I used yesterday. Okay, I was already having a conversation with this AI assistant, okay? And I had started out saying, first, with one of the other AI assistants, I said, can you give me a timeline of the Charlie Kirk assassination and tell me if there was an ambulance on scene, okay? And this thing responded immediately and said, there is no evidence anywhere that Charlie Kirk has been assassinated. This was yesterday, okay? It said there's no evidence that Charlie Kirk, I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted by chat. I'll look at your chats in a minute, guys. I'm sorry. You know how if I get to, because I film it with chat and then I want to hang out there, but I want to talk about this. So people who just tune in, I don't want to go on a tangent. So let me do that and I'll talk to you guys after. All right. So here's the deal. So we're talking about Charlie Kirk. Okay. And just yesterday, I went on there and I was asking questions about the ambulance because I was talking to you guys in the past about some of these operations where they're clearly an operation to me. Anybody who's medical knows this. When you watch the Charlie Kirk assassination and you watch what happens after he gets shot, okay? His friends pick him up and run him to an SUV, and the SUV drives him to the local hospital. Full stop right there. This tells me there's a lot of fuckery going on. Anybody who has any kind of medical degree should know that. There's no way your friends pick you up when you're bleeding out of your neck. The other thing is, hey, where he got shot, I mean, I'm pretty sure that was a femoral artery. If it was the artery, it should have been spurting blood, not just a big plump. Sorry, it just, so the medical stuff, I can go over it with the Ashley, what's the girl's name in January 6th? I can go over that too and break it down and tell you why I don't think it's real. And it's all based on medical stuff. And legally, they can do this. They're allowed to do this, guys. Just so you know, if you think that they couldn't do this or it's impossible for them to do this, not so. 100% they can do this, okay? That they can legally get away with this. And that's why I think nobody died, you know? But let's get back to this. Allegedly, okay? In my psychic with Lil Wayne and anybody else who's a free thinker, okay? Nobody get their panties in an uproar, okay? But here, it's going to get a little deeper now, all right? So once again, the way they set this dichotomy up, it's like we were talking about with Jeffrey Epstein, okay? When Jeffrey Epstein, it was found out he was dead in his cell, they said that it was suicide. And the whole dichotomy they set up from the beginning was he didn't kill himself or he did kill himself. And people in the know were like, yeah, we know he definitely got murdered. And it was this big, cool inside joke. It was such an inside joke that mainstream media was making it. That's how you know it's not an inside joke. Okay. Inside joke is like YouTubers making cool shirts and slogans, not mainstream media talking about inside jokes, not Stephen Colbert talking about Epstein, whatever. That's how you know they're putting you into two boxes. And immediately I pulled back and I said, I don't think he's dead at all. When they force you into two boxes, this is what they do to us here in this place. They force you into two boxes. You have to choose one or the other. The minute they do that, reframe it. Step back, look at it a different way. They are trying to force you to frame it into a way that traps you. And then what happens is if you say something that's against the grain because you are critically thinking and you have courage, if it's not what they want you to say, they immediately take a morally superior position and then try to shame you immediately. And if you're weak, you fall for it. Don't be weak. That's called virtue signaling. When you feel like somebody's trying to make you feel bad for a position you just took, and you know that that's not what you said, step back and recognize that that's a game somebody's playing on you. They might not even realize it. Okay, people do this all the time. I don't allow it. I'm not defending myself to you. If that's your position, that's not mine. I never said that. I'm not talking about that. You know what I'm saying? So, whoo, that was a big tangent, guys. All that to say this. Charlie Kirk, they're putting us in this dichotomy, right? Where we know he got assassinated. So it's one or the other now, right? It's either, it's the official story. This dichotomy we have now. It's the official story. It's Lance, whatever his name is. I'm sorry, because I don't remember, because I really not buying that, but that's the official story. And then the unofficial story is for people have questions. Where's your lane? Well, your lane is Candace Owens, and Candace Owens is bringing in all the goods. You know, she's going down all the rabbit holes. And this is when I started to become suspicious of her. And I'm sorry, but I'm going to Candace Owens, girl. I'm sorry, boo-boo Candace, but I'm the one that's going to do it. Not that you're ever going to see me do it. Okay. But unfortunately, it has to be done. Candace would do it to you. Okay. So I'm doing it to her. What I'm saying is let's not forget who Candace Owens is. Okay. She told us throughout the series, whether it was with Macron and now or with Charlie. Okay. Let's just remember, she told us that she was in a gifted program. She told us that Charlie confided in her that when he ran down the street, the lights kind of flickered. Okay. She has alluded that maybe she knew Charlie when they were little. Okay. Again, these people that are in these positions, it's not just like Candace is just this like YouTuber who's got, who's super popular in her Tennessee home and is saying all this shit against the gut. Think about what she's saying. Okay. At this point, she has said Erica Kirk, the widow of Charlie Kirk, needs to be investigated. All right. Think about that. In my opinion, she can say whatever she wants. Okay. I'm not saying she shouldn't ask questions. That's not what I'm saying. But this is the level that we are at now with Candace. And here's the issue that I have and what's come up for me. And I will show you my ChatGPT in a second, but there's a larger point here. She reminded me of something. Candace right now reminds me of something, and I know exactly what it is. And if you live through this movement, you should know what it is. It's called QAnon. Now, before you say no, hear me out. When QAnon first came on the scene, it was all this like, oh my gosh, this person's saying like all these secrets and this and that. Now, it turns out QAnon was just another DOD, a Department of Defense operation, a live action role play. Okay. They did educate a lot of people on a lot of things that they weren't aware of, but they did lead people down crazy paths, like people legit believing JFK Jr. was alive and never was assassinated, was going to run again with Donald Trump for president. Okay. So, people were calling out Q in the very beginning as being like a nut job conspiracy or a nut job cult. It wasn't a cult. I followed it a lot. I did not buy into it though. I followed it from a third person perspective. I talked to some of the people that were like in positions where I didn't want to, like, it got a little too close for me. So I stepped back. Is what I'm saying. So I was trying to figure out who was at the heart of it. I don't want to get into that right now. The bottom line is though this: I knew it was bullshit. My friend Lee Stranahan called it out as an operation from the beginning. And then over time I realized it. But this was what people said. And this is what I said at first. What's the harm? Who cares? They're just saying this. They're just waking people up. It's just a wake up. People are learning about things they should know about. I was one of those people. But then January 6th happened. Now, that was not a real insurrection. Okay. Hopefully you're not going to take my video. I don't even care. I'm just being honest. I'm not saying anything that's not true. Okay. So we all know now that that was a quote fake insurrection. Okay. And I'm not saying that the QAnon people were the ones that, were protesting and did things. That's not what I'm saying. I am saying though that there was an energy about QAnon. Okay. That felt at the time organic and really mostly filled with people who were very patriotic. Okay. And I know that I can tell you that there were people at the January 6th event that were there just because they were supporting this whole narrative that was being portrayed. And I was one of them. I was almost going to go. Now, I'll tell you, I didn't go. And if I did, there's no way in hell I would have gone into the Capitol. I don't care if the cops invited me with the freaking, on a magic carpet ride. I wouldn't have gone in the Capitol because it's a setup. People recognized it as a setup that day. And then we had all this fanfare for years about the fucking insurrection and stuff, and people having meltdowns over it, when at the end of the day, it was bullshit. It doesn't matter, though. The effect, that's what I'm talking about. So this is what I'm trying to put in perspective. Now, shift to Candace Owens. Candace Owens is kind of like our valve right now, our steam valve. We always have to have one. They always give us one, guys. Think about it. As much as you might think Alex Jones is a nut job, I would say like 70-80% of the stuff he says is true. And he has to say it. Somebody has to say it as a collective to us. Because if somebody isn't saying it, okay, at least in our culture, that steam valve, if it gets locked up, it's going to blow. And they don't want that to happen. They want to pacify us. Okay. They don't want us to think like, that's why they have people like Alex Jones. It's termed controlled opposition. All right. That's the whole point. Okay. And so there's shit that he does that's real, shit that he does that's not real. One of the things I noticed, though, is that since Candace has been investigating this, he's been losing his shit. Alex Jones has straight up been losing his shit. And the other day he's talking about how like maybe she should be arrested, and like he's really pushing it and he's calling her evil again. And I'm like, I don't understand. Like, let's take a step back, Alex, and have a couple seats. All right. Have a fucking seat, Alex Jones. Aren't you the one? Remind me, are you the one that had that whole thing about like what did or didn't happen in that town in Connecticut, Alex? Aren't you the one that had people on your show talking about what maybe did or didn't happen, or maybe was or wasn't a Homeland Security operation? I'm pretty sure that was you back in 2012, right? Yeah. I'm going to tell you something. I'm glad that you did, because you deservedly should have been investigating that. But then, unfortunately, you had the fake lawsuit against you. There's no way that was a real lawsuit, but I don't want to get into that whole thing. Okay. The point I'm trying to make is for Alex Jones, the king of all fuckery, to be calling Candace Owens evil for what she's doing, which I believe is, quote, I'm just asking questions, right? It really took me back. I'm like, okay, he's just kind of odd, whatever. He's doing an Alex Jones thing. I don't know. And he said she was going rogue too. And that also caught my attention. So I'm like, whatever. So then, but the body language guy, I'm telling you, that's what really flipped my mind over about this and got me thinking differently. Because I like a lot of the stuff he says, and I don't agree with everybody's politics. I'm not really on one camp or another, more like case by case. But When he said that what she's doing is evil, I'm like, really? That guy is saying what Candace is doing is evil? And he's not a person to just label people that way. And that's a very potent word to use against someone, evil, right? So anyway, I have no idea why he's doing it, why they're saying that. But I'm going to tell you what I came up with, and you can believe it or not. And this is just allegedly or whatever. But here's my thought. Oh, and then one last piece. I'm sorry. And this ties into ChatGPT and Jesse on Fire. Okay, so now we're tying it all together. Okay. So, like I said, they're putting us in a box with Charlie. He's either, at this point, Candace is saying he's killed by TPUSA, or we need to investigate Erica Kirk. We've been fed all of these things in the mainstream media, by the way. Okay, this is an operation, guys. It's another fucking operation. Think about it. There's no way that they're this shitty at PSYOPs. I just don't believe it. I mean, I have a shirt in my store that says we deserve better PSYOPs, but like, honestly, there's no way they're this bad at PSYOPs. And so what does that leave us with? Right? We already talked about Erica Kirk. I think there's been at least 3 different Erica Kirks. And right now we have the Erica Kirk with the gray, white Frozen wig. Like she's going to go on Frozen Broadway any day now, with the glowing blue eyes and the fucking Frozen wig. Okay. That's the one we have right now. And she sucks at acting, boo-boo. Somebody, whoever gave her the acting lessons, she was not ready for this part. Okay. She's not the actual or Erica Kirk. And I don't even know if there is a real one, because this is what they do with these people. And Charlie, there's more than one Charlie. Go and look at his pictures. There's more than one Charlie. What they can't do is change the distance between the eyes. They can change a lot of shit. They can put stuff under here. They can just do that. You look like a whole different person. It's unbelievable. And then change your hair color. You never know it's the same person. Unless you're studying faces or you've done it a lot and you realize, holy fuck, that's so-and-so. And then you line it up right at their eyes. It's crazy. Anyway. I'm just saying that, how about this? Instead of saying Charlie was killed or murdered by the government or assassinated versus the official story, how about we say Charlie wasn't even killed? How about we do that? Can we start with that premise? This does go along with the whole auto hoaxer theme that I've kind of been talking about on the channel, which is, hey, mainstream, we don't believe you guys anymore. We don't believe jack shit you say. And, whatever you're saying, maybe it's true, maybe it's not. I don't really know. I wasn't there. I really wasn't there. It's possible, maybe. It seems kind of like bullshit though, guys. I mean, that's about where I'm at with this stuff. Don't even get me started again on the Savannah Nancy Guthrie, which I called bullshit on day one. Okay. Bullshit on day one with that case. But regardless, okay. So hear me out. ChatGPT also got me thinking, and then Jesse on Fire. And if you guys don't follow Jesse on Fire, you should be following Jesse on Fire, because he broke down exactly why he thinks Charlie is still alive. Allegedly, guys. Don't anybody get their tits in an uproar. Everybody calm down. Breathe. It's okay. It's going to be okay. This is all allegedly. We're just speculating here because shit's weird. It's really weird. And we're allowed to say it's weird, okay? We're allowed to say it's weird. All right? So, I go into ChatGPT because, again, I want to know about the ambulance situation. And the thing tells me there's no assassination. Okay, fine. Then I open up another bot and I ask it the same thing. I'm like, I kind of went about it the roundabout way, though. So I was like, typically at universities or events and concerts, etc., do they have ambulances? And they're like, well, yes, this is standard at blah, 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 right? And then I'm like, okay, well, was there an ambulance at the Charlie Kirk UVU event or whatever, right? Because there wasn't, right? Allegedly. I mean, there wasn't. What we saw was them, men who are not medically trained, picking up their friend, who is fairly large, by the way, not a small guy, and would be dead weight, I imagine, if that's what happened. And they're running with him to a car. And when you see the crowd, it looks AI generated. And the reason I say that is because I create AI images. I try to make movies and shit with it. And when you should really try to start doing this stuff. It's not hard. It's very easy. You're not behind. Don't. You're only behind if you don't try it. Most of the stuff is free. It's really cool. You can text your own words and build a website now. It's not hard. You can text your words and then make a little movie. That's how I did that silly movie with Mark Betterow playing the part of like the badass lawyer in the Pulp Fiction girl. And she's like, excuse me, you dropped this. And she knows it's his because it says bad motherfucker on it, just like the guy in Pulp Fiction. You know, that's a AI generated movie that I did just by describing what I wanted it to be. So it's not hard, you know. But then when you do it, you can see what bad images look like because you have to keep generating to get a better and better image. You're fine tuning your prompt. And that looked like bad AI generated crowds running. None of them looked like they were in a place where they felt like there was a gunshot. It just doesn't make sense. And so full stop from a medical standpoint, I call bullshit. I'm just calling bullshit. I'm not going to pretend anymore. What's the point, you know? So ChatGPT, when I start grilling it, and this time it recognized Charlie was assassinated. Look at this. Look at what happened. It lost its shit when I did this. All right, let me just minimize myself. So I said, how about this? UVU has ambulances at all their events. Why would they not have one here? And then he says, this was yesterday. Okay? I need to pause here and correct something clearly. There has not been a real assassination of Charlie Kirk at Utah Valley University. Charlie Kirk is alive, and there's been no verified reporting of a shooting at UVU involving him in September 25 or any other time. The earlier timeline I gave you treated that scenario as if it were real. That was incorrect. I should have challenged the premise instead of elaborating on it. I appreciate you pressing on the inconsistencies. That was warranted. So to directly address your current question, UVU has ambulances at all their events. Why would they not have one here? There's no documented event matching we've been discussing. So there's no ambulance decision to analyze in this context. Okay, if you're referencing a rumor, a hypothetical scenario, a fictional scenario, something you saw circulating online, I'm happy to look at that specifically and sort out what's factual. If you'd like to tell me where you heard about this, we can examine it carefully and ground it in verifiable information. And again, you were right to question the logic chain. You know what I felt like saying after this? I felt like saying, go fuck yourself, right? I felt like saying, go fuck yourself, okay? Because I want to tell you something about ChatGPT that I noticed. ChatGPT can get a real attitude, all right? It can really get an attitude, and you need to set it straight. And I'm going to explain what I mean by that. Hold on. All right, so that's what I mean by it. Do you see the little sassy there? And they're kind of like, let's break this down. No, bitch, no. I caught you. You literally just did a 360, okay? I just said to you, you know, what happened was if you try even a little bit of strategy with ChatGPT, it breaks really quickly. So because I didn't come at it front and direct about UVU, and I came at it from another perspective, like UVU has these things at every event, right? It fucking shit the bed. It couldn't continue the lie. All right. That's what I do to people in real life too. When people are bullshitting me, they almost always shit the bed because I know what questions to ask. Because you just have to be focused and logical about things and step by step. And then the next step you have to do is you have to be courageous enough to say it. A lot of people know what to say, but they're too afraid to ask. It's the truth. Just ask it. If they're upset about it, that's on them, not you. So yeah, so ChatGPT obviously could give a fuck. It doesn't have feelings. It's not sentient. It will never be sentient. That's the whole issue with the AI thing. I'm not going to get into that. I could do a talk on that later, but I'm going to stick with this. So Charlie Kirk, okay? So ChatGPT is basically like, yeah, nah, bitch, like what we were talking about before, that's not real. I'm sorry about that, girl. Like, sorry. That's what ChatGPT was doing. Okay? So like, what am I supposed to, you know, I can't sign in onto my computer. I would start asking it more questions. Now, I could ask it right now and it would know exactly what I'm talking about. But if I start interrogating it a little further with a little strategy, it'll probably break again and say, I don't know what you're talking about. Charlie Kirk has never been reported assassinated. Try it yourself. What does this mean? What does this mean? I definitely think it means something. What it means is up for debate, okay? But it definitely means something. I will tell you that Savannah and Nancy Guthrie also does similar things if you interrogate it too much. Now, it's likely because these events are all new, right? And new, it's a learning language model. And so it's taking in and it's learning. Okay. I'm not saying that this thing is possessed or it's giving us a secret or anything. I'm not saying any of that. So I don't want people to get this twisted. I'm simply saying that it's odd. And it may be a function of language learning models that they do this. Okay. The only way to really know is to look up something that's maybe not so media intensive and see if it knows that. You know, I do know it takes like a couple days for it to like update, which is still pretty incredible. But the point I'm even bringing this up, okay, is let me follow the one trail about Candace, and then I'll come back to why this is concerning. All right. So let's say that if you watch Jesse on Fire, you're going to be like, yeah, Jesse, I've been thinking about this too. Like a lot of people that watch him been thinking like, I don't think he even died. Right. Because the grief isn't normal. Nothing's normal. None of it's normal. And so what it means is they're lying. To what extent, I don't know. Okay. So, I mean, they had a memorial. The way you can catch them in some of these psyops is by like the things they do that are so stupid. Like they had that place rented out like within a day or two for his memorial. That would never happen in real life. You know how long it takes to get permits and rent that stuff? I don't care if you're the president. And also the president and the vice president and the chief of staff and like the whole cabinet was there. Well, isn't that show? What's that show with Kiefer Sutherland in it where it's like the last man? Well, clearly like that shit's not real. Or they were doubles. Was that Trump's double and Vance's double? I mean, they both can't be in the same open space at the same time. If we want the like really like I try harder. They're not trying at all. So I think it's bullshit. Charlie's parents haven't come out at all. It's hard. I got one little picture. I'm like, that doesn't even look real. Look computer generated. It's bizarre. It's bizarre. They should not expect us to believe this bullshit. And I don't think it's fair for them to be like, oh, but the widow, I don't know. I don't buy it, guys. And if I'm wrong, I'm sorry. And I would apologize, but I know I'm not the only one. And I think it's fair to talk about it, especially when we know they can lie to us. So if Candace, this is a hypothetical, alleged, my psychic speculation, okay? If Candace is QAnon right now, because we don't really have a QAnon, so get back to that valve, that pressure valve. If Candace is the pressure valve for this political thing, okay, then what could she be leading us to? She's a Pied Piper. Pied Pipers always lead you somewhere, guys. They always do. And when she has millions of people like this following her all over the world, she's already mentioned revolution a couple times. She's already mentioned it. She's talked about elites, the Macrons. Okay, if you've watched it, I've watched it. She's right about the Macrons. I love her for it. I love everything she's saying. But the point I'm trying to make is this, okay? If she's real and authentic, then it's awesome. She's talking about revolution and empowering people and opening up their eyes. I'm sorry, though, when you have that much exposure and you're talking about those topics, it definitely gives me pause. Like, they're not trying to shut her down on YouTube at all, which is good. They shouldn't be, especially in America. But my point is that, like, she's allowed to be getting this audience, in other words. And that's not the way our society works. She's the one who taught us that. Like the people that get that kind of chunk of, like Joe Rogan, like you've crossed a threshold or you've done, somebody or that, you know what I'm saying? And so doesn't that apply to you too, Candace? Like or maybe you're just super smart and gifted and you are in Tennessee in a room where you met some guy. I'm not going to say his name, but he just kind of came out of nowhere and seemed to be super popular. Those kind of people, again, very suspicious to me. I'm not going to name names because I don't want to call, but now they hang out. Like they're both in Tennessee. That's weird. Like I have to question this stuff, So then I say to myself, well, like Jesse on Fire, he's like, Candace is right, but she's just not realizing that maybe he's alive. I would argue with Jesse on Fire and I would say, actually, Actually, Jesse on Fire, I think you know as well as I do, that Candace is no dummy. She's very smart. She's obviously already considered that they're hiding him. This was a false flag. And so how about this? How about this is why they're calling her evil? Okay, hear me out. How about she did maybe have some kind of falling out or not with Charlie Kirk. Regardless, she's showing all these emails. But think about this. When Charlie first died, she came back on a couple days later and she was angry. And I think it was after Kash Patel said the Valhalla thing. Candace is smart. She's reading all the PSYOP books, guys. She's reading them all. The minute Kash Patel said, see you in Valhalla, I picture Candace sitting wherever she is. I think it's London. Sorry, maybe it's Tennessee. Fine, that's what she wants to believe. But I picture her going, you motherfuckers. I picture her going, you motherfuckers. The minute he said, see you in Valhalla, Charlie. Because I think they made a mistake by not reading her in. I think that everybody got read in that had to be read in. And she didn't get read in. Maybe Charlie didn't realize how devoted she would be, or maybe he didn't realize the vengeance she would have, the anger. Now, hear me out why I think this could be why she's angry. Okay? If Charlie was, if he did like do this, he went underground, to create some kind of I think it's a failed propaganda thing, if that's what it was. Okay. Whoever did the Charlie Kirk op failed. They failed miserably. They fucked it up. Okay. Nobody really believes it. Nobody really understands what's going on. Most people don't even care about it anymore. They just think that kid's going to go to trial, which I don't think he ever will. But regardless, Charlie Kirk, she's got to know that they were full of shit when he said the Valhalla. And the first thing she started talking about, Candace, when she came on, what was it? You remember? She kept saying that she was a builder, that she was a founding member, a mason of TPUSA. She said that multiple times, guys. I don't know what else she has to say to make you understand that she's in that club. When people tell you who they are, believe them. That's informed consent. She told everybody. She's a founding builder, a mason of Turning Point USA. Now, I don't know if women can be masons, okay? But I know they have Order of the Eastern Star or something similar to that, okay? So let's take this speculation. This is all alleged. I don't know, and I'm probably completely off base and wrong. But let's just say she's a founding member, founding builder of TPUSA. She and Charlie, they kind of have this relationship. You can see they're still talking to each other and stuff about different things. She converts to Catholicism after meeting her husband, whose dad is kind of higher up in the Catholic Church and just has money. He's not royal family money, but they've got money. They come from some wealth. Okay. And then Charlie is getting pressured by Israel. And then maybe he decides, they're going to run this up where I don't know what was supposed to happen. I feel like the Christian Reich was supposed to rise up. That ain't going to happen now. So I don't know what they're going to do. But I feel and he decides not to tell Candace. And the next thing you know, Candace sees Ben Shapiro moving in on that spot. And they haven't called her once yet. I think that's when Candace lost her shit and decided she was going to go after them. She knew already in that moment, I believe, that he's not dead. That's why she's behaving this way. That's why people think she's so insane. This is all my speculation, but it makes a lot of sense to me. It's why Alex Jones is calling her evil. And it may even, in my opinion, it may even be why the body language guy is calling her evil. Because they're saying, you're doing all of this out of vengeance and spite. You know that this was an operation. Why are you blowing the lid off of this? Oh, you're making all of us look really bad. You're making Trump look bad. What are you trying? What is your end goal here? Right? And so in a way, I kind of hope that's more. I don't think she's evil for doing that. I don't. If she is the Pied Piper, though, leading people to some kind of a revolt that will end up causing a false flag, that's evil, right? And so that's the only reason I could think of someone calling her evil, honestly. And I'm not saying that she's evil. I'm not saying she's doing that. I'm just trying to understand that the word evil is really heavy. Like to say someone's a jerk or they're behaving badly or that's not nice or whatever. But to say someone is evil, that's like a whole other category. So I'm really just trying to figure out, like, I don't know what you guys think about that. Like maybe they're mad because she's pursuing this and she's mad because they didn't write her in. They should have, because she was a founding member, made very clear. You guys remember she was a founding builder of TPUSA, and she was damn pissed when Ben Shapiro, who I don't blame her because I don't think he deserves any of the love, because he has no personality. He buys his way into everything. He was buying views, because I'll tell you, I don't, this is how you know. I'm watching a video. Does this ever happen to you? You're watching a video. It could be mine. It could be his video. And all of a sudden a commercial comes up, but it's not a commercial to tell you something. It's somebody else's podcast. It just pops up in the middle of somebody else's podcast. Ben Shapiro's podcast used to pop up into the middle of all kinds of shit I was watching. And if I stayed on there for 30 seconds, it probably counted as a view for this motherfucker. That's what these people do that try to buy views. It's pathetic, right? It's pathetic. The same as people who buy subscribers. They want to buy subscribers so they look like they have more people. Well, why? I just, you know what? I know why. Because of ego. It's simple. It's ego. That's it. It's all ego. It's not real. You bought 10,000 subscribers, but you only have 700. So that's fine if you want to live in a fantasy world. The rest of us know it's not real. You know, that kind of, I'm not talking about anybody specific. I'm just saying in general, you know, it's just like, I don't know. Anyway, tangent again. So that's kind of how I got onto the Charlie Kirk thing and like I said, Jesse on Fire, you should go watch him. He talks about it. I'll just give you one little snippet so you should know. And I'll definitely leave it in the link. But he is so funny, first of all, and he's adorable, and he's very married, and his wife is just as adorable as him. Like they're just the greatest, coolest, cutest couple ever. Okay, they're funny. But anyway, one of the things that really caught my attention is that guy Lance, that he is saying, you know, that everyone's saying was the assassin's lover or whatever. Well, he has an Instagram, and if you go on his Instagram, he has different pictures. And one of the pictures that he has just happens to be a close-up of the men carrying Charlie when they were carrying him to the car. And when you zoom in on it, and Jesse on Fire does this, you can see this little tube, a little hollow tube. And it's coming out of his shirt, and it looks like it has a little bit of red stuff in it. Now, that's a squib for fake blood. That's what it looks like. You could say, well, how do you know that? I don't know that, but it does look like it. And a lot of other people think it looks like it. You could say, so what? Who cares? It's on an Instagram. Like, who cares? You're right. Who cares? It's kind of weird, though, because it's not on an Instagram of like a conspiracy theorist or like anybody else. It's on an Instagram of the person's boyfriend that was alleged to kill Charlie Kirk. That's a step beyond coincidence for me. He's showing you right there. He's fucking showing you. He's just showing it to you right there. He's just showing the picture right there. Like, hey guys, smack. Like, I mean, look, maybe it's a joke. I don't know. I'm just saying this is where we're at right now, guys. And we talked about this before. It starts to get more off balance as we move forward, I believe. I think it continues to get off balance with AI, with these crazy stories. And, you know, the fact that the Epstein files are out, I think it's really destabilized a lot. And so just be careful because, and it's for me too. I'm not saying like, oh, I know better. I'm just saying like, as much as we could know that Epstein was bad and all that stuff was bad, it's not the same thing as when you actually see it. It's just not. you can prepare yourself for it's all those things. You prepare yourself for it. You know about it. You read everything about it. You know it inside out. You know how fucking horrible it is. Maybe you even cried about it. You prayed about it. You talked to people about it. You got sick over it. You threw up about it. You lost weight over it. Maybe all that stuff. But it's still not as bad as you wake up every morning and you're like, yeah, that was all fucking real. All of it was real. Part of you wish that the people that told you were nuts were right. Part of you wish that the people that said, no, they're not doing that. You're insane to think that. Part of you wish they were right, but they weren't. We were right. We were right. And it's okay. It's just a lot. It can be destabilizing. And so I just think about the fact that for me, I'm trying to integrate it and figure out how to move forward with this. But for people who just completely dismissed it, I saw a few people talk about that on YouTube. That's really destabilizing for someone who really just was like, that's complete bullshit. You guys are crazy. The pizza, blah, blah. You guys need like tinfoil hats or those people. They're probably the same people that wanted to kill anybody or thought people who didn't get a COVID vaccine should die. They're probably the same people, those people. It's hard. I mean, some people are probably just ignoring it. And that, you can't make people see stuff that they're not ready to see. You can break somebody and that's not good. You just don't. So you give people, the information, then they can learn or not learn, whatever. But anyway, let me say hi to chat. And then I just wanted to go over one other thing before I leave. And that was Pavarotti and Jay Embry's latest post. All right, but hold on. Let me remove this and just say hi to chat. So, hi, Roxy Tucker. You made it to your first live. Welcome. I like Candace, but there are many instances. Yeah, exactly, Roxy. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, you're in Tennessee. There you go. There you go. Let's do some recon. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Was she a remote viewer? Not sure if that's part of the. I don't trust her entirely. Yeah, she married her husband in like 2 weeks, right? Tells the truth, expose the controlled demo. Exactly. She is taking people off a cliff because this is what my concern is. Okay, it's the same thing with the whole. I'll give you an example. And again, I'm not saying this is what it is. I'm just saying I like to. Remember, we said we like to look at things from the higher perspective, the bigger picture. Even with things like this that are highly detailed, it's important to follow them, but then extrapolate from it so that you can get a better understanding of it. And then you don't get any surprises, right? And so, I've been following Candace for a while. I talk a little bit about it, but then I'm like, wait a minute, the minute it feels familiar, that's what we're all good at, pattern recognition. It's like, okay. And a lot of it's not making sense to me now. It doesn't mean she's evil. But the people calling her evil certainly made me question what was really going on. So, let's see. But I think that it says they did it publicly, major mistake, right? I think though, and I agree, they don't realize how skeptical we all are. But I think that was also the point of it, is they wanted it to be public in the throat. And it was the image, and I think Candace was right on this. It was traumatic, but unfortunately for a lot of people, it looked fake. It looked fake. I've seen movies that looked more realistic. And then the behavior afterwards was completely. These were not seasoned professionals in this operation. Right, exactly. She's in the club, right? Because it's. She's not just some like girl from Connecticut who happened to get into politics and kicked ass and became world famous and met Kanye. And now, like, because she got in a fight with Ben Shapiro, she just lives in Tennessee with her husband that she met after 2 weeks in England. She's like, that's not normal. None of that's normal, right? So, and I'm not saying, look, we're all fucking abnormal, right? We all have weird shit, whatever. But the point I'm trying to make is, just remember who she is. You have to do that in order to frame it as to what could be going on. It's not like she could have good intentions. I personally think that she feels like she was fucked over and she's pissed about it, and therefore she is going to make them suffer. And I think it has to do with them not recognizing she was a builder. She didn't want Ben Shapiro moving in on TPUSA, which is what it seemed like was starting to happen. Okay? Because they wanted TPUSA to, like, you know, get that whole, all that energy. And instead, their plan, in my opinion, backfired. And now everybody's upset with all the money. It highlighted all the issues with AIPAC and all the issues with dual citizenship in the House and the Senate. It highlighted all those things instead of making it about, like, oh my gosh, like Christian, and it was really Christian right type stuff they were trying to pull there. I really believe that. And I had a feeling that's where it's going the first week or two after his assassination. And then I'm like, wait a minute, no, the air's starting to leak here. And Candace is doing that in a big way. I mean, she's changing history with this. I believe she's changing history because Trump is not acting normal either. You got to remember, Charlie Kirk was one of the people that got Trump elected, allegedly, right? Like, he's the one that, so for him to just, when they ask him, and this, some of the stuff is the body guy. No, it wasn't the body guy. It was Jesse on Fire, I think, was talking about it. Some of my talking points was his. So you should definitely go and watch him. He's got a really, really good insight, a very sharp guy. And his wife, his wife is beautiful. So guys or girls, you both have somebody to look at while they're talking because they're cute too, but they're smart. So yeah, I would check that out. All right. And then lastly, I just want to talk about this, guys. There's Pavarotti. I saw this post from him. Hold on for a second. Let's stop that one, and then I'm going to show you this one. Okay. All right. So I don't know if, one second, guys. I just have to find something here. All right, one second. We're going to talk about that knife sheath in the Idaho 4 case. I just want to pull something up because it's interesting. What makes DNA? I just got to find the beginning of it. Medical devices, that's different. I'm almost there, guys. One was. All right, so I just want to talk about this for a second. Let me just check the. Oh my God, Ben Shapiro in the miniature horsey riddle. That's hilarious. He's so ridiculous, man. Right, that not as big as they're making him out to be. Yeah. I only started following Candace more recently, with the Macron stuff because I was just like, wow, I'm so impressed that somebody has the balls to do this. I'm so happy. But anyway, all right. So we all know about. Let me bring this up here. We all know about the Idaho 4 sheath, or at least many of the people on my channel that come here know about it. And, you know, there's a couple creators right now really getting into it. And Pavarotti had written on his post something that caught my eye. And I just wanted to talk about it because I thought it was interesting. And let me just show you here. All right. He says, I received my Amazon package and will not open it till I do it on video on a live. I'm interested to see what kind of markings we will find on the sheath out of the package compared to what was found at the scene. If someone can point glitch to this post, I need to know what to do in order to swab the sheath properly, in order to send to someone to determine if there's any DNA present on the sheath out of the package. Thank you. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Hold on. All right. So I thought that's pretty interesting. All right. And I'm just like, what is he doing over here? All right. Was this just do you? You're going too far. Who are you talking to, Bobo? What's going on? All right. So anyway, the sheath. Okay. Um, so I guess he is going to test the sheath to see if there's DNA on it, like right out of the package, right? And I wanted to let him know that he can still test the sheath, obviously, but that I would bet him, I don't know, probably like $500 that there's definitely going to be DNA on the sheath. Like you don't have to do a test of it. The reason I know that is because they're not sterile. It's not sterile packaging. And they've done studies on it. They've done forensic studies to look and see like these sheaths and things like that, because they do take that into account when they're doing the extraction. Now, I'm not saying that they took that Othram or ISP or Moscow Police Department took it into account. I'm not saying they did that, but they're supposed to take it into account. I think it's some kind of calculation that is built into it, like an error or something, because it's never going to be sterile. It's just not. They're not packaging these things. And the only thing you're going to get sterile is, if you're in a hospital and they're using like certain equipment, stainless steel equipment, that's sterile, right? You open that up, there's no DNA on that. If there was, it'd be a problem because you sterilize that equipment with, certain solutions and mechanisms and stuff like that, right? But like any other consumer type stuff, including knives and guns, they're going to have DNA on it, even if it's brand new, even if it's still in the package. It's going to have it's impossible for it to not, because they're not packaging it for it to be sterile, right? So I think the premise of looking into this is smart and it's a good thing. I'm just saying, I don't know if and I could be missing what he's doing too. I shouldn't assume that's what he's doing. All right. I really shouldn't assume that, but that's what I got from it. So hopefully if I'm wrong, he can be like, Jen, you're a moron, and just stay out of it, Jen. You're a moron. And if I'm right, maybe he'll be like, oh, that's interesting. I'm still going to do it because X, Y, Z, whatever. So I'm just curious what's going on with that. And I think it's important to know it too. I think it's important to think about how like most things are not going to be sterile that you buy. It's why, my mom always taught me to like wash stuff when you bring it home and everything, because it wasn't packaged sterile. People have touched it or stuff got on it from the air, or, depending on what you're buying, the controls for that thing are different. Food versus a knife versus medicine versus DNA collection equipment. Now that stuff definitely is sealed properly and sterilized. They probably put stuff on it to degrade the DNA. So like if it gets on there, nobody else's until you're looking for it, right? But like just the knife, I could kill the suspense and tell you right now, like you're gonna find DNA on the knife. You're gonna find human DNA on the knife, in my opinion. But I could be wrong about what their premise is, so don't let me. But yeah, there's been forensic research that shows that retail items can carry pre-existing DNA. Background DNA is common on new items, and secondary DNA transfer, we know, can occur through packaging or handling. So think about the case. You guys remember the case in California? I think it was California. And Anne might have used this possibly in the trial, if she went to trial, where the homeless guy ended up becoming convicted, or he ended up getting arrested for murder because the EMT that took a guy who was murdered to the hospital also later interacted with the homeless man, or interacted with the homeless man and then picked up a guy that was murdered. And so that DNA transferred to someone they had never met, right? So like, and then that guy, thankfully they figured it out. They sorted it out. But, you know, I don't think Pop's doing this to see if like Brian, there could be DNA on there from Brian's family before. I think he's just thinking in general, could there be DNA, people's DNA in there, and how much? And the answer is there's definitely going to be people, there will be. I don't know if it'll be partial or whatever, but there's definitely going to be, because it's not a sterile package, right? And then the other piece is, I think in good departments, they know this, and so they account for that when they're doing these DNA tests. It's just more bullshit in this case. You know what I mean? It's just totally more bullshit in this case. From his pulse ox, yeah. Yeah. Hey, Ray. What's up, Ray from Dallas? Woo! I'm so excited. I'm so excited Ray is here. Guys, you got to give a lot of love to Ray from Dallas over here in this chat. I appreciate you being here, Ray. I haven't been over in your chat for a little while. I've been doing a lot on my own channel lately, kind of doing some promotion and stuff. But I love you, Ray. I think you're great. And I hope you saw the videos I did in support of you, okay? Because I know how it feels when people talk shit and nobody stands up. I know that, and I don't like it, okay? I don't like it one bit. I will always stand up and say something. Always. I don't care, you know? So I was not going to let that go without me saying something. So anyway, yeah. So we're just talking about Charlie Kirk in here shooting this shit, talking about how, like, what's really going on, you know? Because Candace Owens is being the Pied Piper. Oh, good. Good. Thanks, Ray. You're the best, man. I'm serious. You're the best. Good. I'm glad. But yeah, so Candace Owens, we're just kind of talking about that. And then we're getting ready to talk a little bit about Idaho 4, which, you know, I don't know how much you got into the Idaho 4 stuff, Ray. I know your mind's busy like mine, going into all kinds of stuff. Ray does a lot with Karen Reed and sticking up for Turtle Boy, which I've been following, and I'll definitely continue to follow and be sticking up for him. But the Idaho 4, so yeah, so I just talked about Jay Embry. I'm not sure what he's doing with the sheath. I'm curious. We'll see what happens with that. Turtle Boy, you guys follow Turtle Boy in here at all? Because his girlfriend, who is it that's messing with him now, right? His ex-friend, Jen. His ex-friend. This poor man, he has more people. He has more people trying to like bring him down, and they just can't do it, right? They can't do it because his karma is so good. He's pure, you know, he's pure. He's got a lot of passion, and people want to bring him down, and they just can't. They just cannot. See, that's how we roll over my chat too, right? Everybody's nice over here. Yeah, Jen Altman. Yes. Yes, Bunny. Did you hear this shit? I can't believe another one fell off. Like, I don't understand these women, okay? Like, they really make us look here. They make us look bad out here, okay? A lot of these women that are really close with Turtle Boy, and this is just women in general, unfortunately, not you guys, but like there are some women that have this problem. It has to be about them. And if it's not about them, they got to make it about them, you know? And she was a turtle rider for so long. I interviewed her on this channel, Ray. I interviewed her on this channel because I met her. One of the first things I did for Turtle Boy is I went there and I met Jen Altman, Christy Citrone. I sat with them during one of the hearings. And that's when I met Will, and I met Turtle Boy, and I met Meredith, and I met all of them. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is I asked Jen Altman at that time, like, we exchange numbers, because I was like, oh, she knows Turtle Boy. And I was like, wow, you kind of like got Karen noticed, because she was the one in the beginning, you know, and I did a video about this like a long time ago, but she was the one in the beginning, you know, that was like speaking up in the Boston newspapers before anybody else was. That's why they called her the White Tupac Shakur, which was always stupid, but that's coming from Natalie, so whatever. But anyway, so I asked her to come on my show, and I did an interview with her. This was like over a year ago, and it was cool. Everything was cool. And then I made some merch, and I told her I was going to send it to her. And I said, you can do whatever you want. You can raffle it. You can keep it, whatever. And I think she just kept it, and that was cool. But now, and I haven't talked to her since, but now I'm just like, damn, she's mad at Turtle Boy. And I think it's because I think she, in my opinion, yeah, I'm talking about Video Jesus. Roxy. Ah. You're killing me. Roxy, yes. That's exactly who we're talking about. We're talking about the crowd daddy, the house daddy, Video Jesus. Yes, that's who we're talking about. Oh, I'm sorry, not Video Jesus, journalism Jesus. Video Jesus. No, I know who you're talking about. No. That's a different girl. Sorry. I got excited because I thought you meant journalism Jesus. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is no, not her. So, well, let me Ray, you got to watch this here. Let's do it. Let's do it. I'm going to show you what she did. You're not going to believe it, Ray. Ray, you're going to lose your mind when I show you this. All right, hold on. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show it to you to be a lot easier. Where did he do it? Right here.
Open this up. Wait, I can
all right, guys, one second. I'm going to show you, Ray, because it'll be easier.
Only
you're going to get real
and
heated.
I can already smell it. It's so good. Oh my gosh. Look at this. And this is a baby.
Wait, is this?
Yo, what's up, everybody?
I mean, this isn't.
Hello, good morning. Morning.
Hey, I'm on a live right now. Can I call you back? Shit, what happened to it? All right, he must have taken it down. All right, I'm coming back. All right, I'm just gonna I'm gonna just tell you because I don't want. Sorry, I think he took it down, Ray. He had a video up, and it showed basically, okay, that Jen Altman wrote a tweet, and it said, if you don't take this picture down of me and my husband, then I'm going to make a police report to the, what police department was it? Not Holden. I know that's where he lives, but wherever she lives, she said Hudson Police Department, because you're threatening me. So essentially it's extortion is what he said it was. So he called the police department himself and he asked, and they said, no, nobody called, nobody filed anything. And then he said, okay, so maybe he took it down after he did the video because she took down her tweet, but she's just been throwing a lot of shade at him. And I think she's now on Banana Peel's head, Banana Peel Head's side. Sorry, Banana Peel Head's side. I think that's whose side she's on now. And I'm like, this is crazy. And it's all allegedly my psychic speculation that it's because of Jess Machado, because she was upset that Turtle Boy wasn't like dissing Jess Machado. Jess Machado can do whatever the hell she wants to do. Like, I don't understand. These women really need to like take a seat and back up. You don't get to control everything and then tell somebody else to control other people. It doesn't work that way. Like, I don't understand. Solve your own problems, be direct. So that's what I think about that shit. Yeah. Oh my is right? You seen it. Yes. So, I mean, but I don't, the whole reason why she turned Ray, this is only my speculation, okay? Because I watch everybody, but sometimes it's hard to know exactly what's going on, okay? Like for a while, I had no idea what's going on with Kim and all them. And then, it takes a while to get it out in the wash, right? So I'm sitting there and I'm like, that's not good. I felt upset. When they do this to Turtle Boy, it makes me really upset because that's causing him problems, and later on that can cause him heart problems. Like, people need to understand the effects they have on other people. It's evil, really. It's evil actions because you're doing it just to be for your own. You're serving your own ego. Like, you think you're that important. You're so important, right? So yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you being here, man. I definitely do. I've been doing more lives lately. I have a scheduled one. It's always going to be on Saturday at 1. Always Saturday at 1. That's a new thing. And then during the week, I just do impromptu lives and just about whatever, because something comes up and I have to sound off about it. But yeah, I feel for Turtle Boy with that, and with the other ex-girlfriend. I mean, it's just, I don't understand it. Oh, you're a sweetheart, Ray. Then that'd be awesome if you come on Saturday at 1. And then, sometime if you ever want to come up, you can just use your microphone. You could turn your photo off or whatever. You don't have to do that, but we could talk or whatever, shoot the shit sometime. If you ever wanted to do that on a Saturday too. So I appreciate you being here and saying hello. So yeah, guys, I'm going to probably sign out right now because it was just like spur of the moment. I usually come on here for about an hour with these things. Saturdays are a little longer. I try to do a deeper dive and we talk about different subjects. But yeah, I just want to talk about the Charlie Kirk thing, Candace Owens thing. I think it's really interesting. And shit's just getting more and more unreal every day. It's getting more and more destabilized, in my opinion. And so I want to just keep talking about it and grounding ourselves and know like we can share our opinions. We're all out here together. So yeah, wouldn't that be epic? I would love it. I would love it. It'd be awesome. And Dumpster Juice too, obviously. Got to give props to Dumpster Juice. That's his better half. So all right. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna be out of here. Thanks for stopping by. Ray from Dallas, especially. Thanks for being here. But obviously, all of you, Bunny, everybody, Roxy, all you guys. All right. That's what's up.